Okay, so in this tutorial, we'll learn how to paint across two texture sets. So the problem I encountered is if I try painting now with the clamp tool or clone tool, select this one, go to pass through, and if I try to paint on the body, so let's say I take this point and I just start painting, it works correctly. But if I want to paint from the body to the head, because they are two different materials, I can't do that. So if I go to body and I create a paint layer and I do clone and then I do pass through, hit V to select the location I want to copy to clone from. Then I try to paint, it doesn't paint on the other material. And the reason for this is, so let's close up Substance. If I go into 3D Studio Max where I created this human, and you can create it anywhere, you can create it in 3D Studio Max, Maya, or Blender, or whatever. But if you create him, what I did, I created the body and the head separately, then I welded them together. So I created one edit poly of the body and the head has its own textures and material, and the body has its own texture and material. So if I go to Material, Editor, I can see that they are multi-sub object. They have two materials connected to this guy. That's why we have two texture set in Substance. In order to overcome this issue, I need to use something called UDIMs. UDIMs is essentially painting two textures on UV coordinates on the same material. So what I need to do is take this guy here, add unwrap UVW, go to Open UV Editor, and in the UV editor, you can see that the face and the body, all the islands are in the same UV space. So if I want to create multiple UV spaces, in this case 2, because I have 2 materials, but you can create 3 materials, 4 materials, however you want. What I do is I click here, multi-tile in dialog, and then I need to select his head here. So let's go to the left viewport, go to selection, and remember in select by to deselect ignore back faces because I want to select all the polygons across the head. Now I'm going to select the head. So let's do this like so, and also hitting Control and adding the top of the head. Okay, let's fix up the selection. Hit F2 to see the selection correctly, and F4 to see the vertices. So select these that are not selected. I'm essentially selected only the head. This part is the body, so I need to deselect this. And that is all. The head is completely selected. Now what you need to do is hit F2 to see the face. I need to go to UV Editor, and I need to drag the whole thing to the right. If this is clicked, show multi-tile, then you will see a new tile starting here. So let's take this to this side. Here we go. Okay, let's see. Looks fine, so I need to make sure that the face is aligned correctly. So it was aligned correctly. I just dragged it to this side. And it looks okay. Now we have two UDIMs. The first one is the body, the second one is the face. Okay, let's deselect this, see the model, looks correct. Maybe a little bit with the eye because we didn't drag quite right. So let's select this entire polygroup, this one, and just drag it until I get it correct, exactly the same. You see the eye is correct now. Let's go in. Move it a little bit. And where the trick I do is I hit the eye here to hide the unwrap and see the unwrap, and then I can see the difference. So as you can see, it's almost the same. Yep, looks the same. Okay, so I dragged it correctly. If I didn't drag it correctly, like so, and I hit the eye, you see the difference before and after. So I need to drag it so it's in the same spot as it was before the UV was added. Exactly. Okay. So now we have two UDIMs. Let's close this up, close this one, and that's it for this. Next thing I need to do is I need to create or rename the textures for the UDIMs. So I'll explain why. If I go to material here, can I create a new material? So let's say physical material, just create one. I need to, in order to use the two textures with UDIMs, I need to find a texture called multi-tile. So let's hit multi-tile. Here it is, multi-tile. Just drag it in. I need to assign in tiling here the two textures I'm using, the one for the body and one for the head. For this instance, I'm using only the diffuse texture, the base color. So I'm not using normal maps and roughness and things like that. But for each channel, I need the same thing. So if I try to load the texture now, let's say the head texture, I will get an error, invalid file pattern format. I'll explain why. So we have two textures here, the head and the body. I need to make UDIMs out of them. So I need to make the body, which is the left one, the first one, and the head, the second one. So let's copy these textures, copy them somewhere, say here. And the body is the left one. Let me check to be sure. So the head is this one, which is U2. And the body, which I didn't drag, is this one, which is U1. Okay, so the body is number one. Let's go back here. Body, number one. So instead of body, I'm going to write 1001. So this is the first one. It needs to be in thousands, 1001. And the head is 1002. Okay. Now, when I go to material, and I find this material here, the tiling that we added, multi-tile, if I try to add, let's go to this file I created, add 1001, it will automatically add the both of them. So let's do that. What? Something went wrong. Open. Huh. Oh, I need to switch from ZBrush to UDIMs pattern because we're using UDIMs. Now I'm going to select 1001, open. Okay, both of them are connected to one map. This one is connected to base color. And we have two textures on the same material. Now let's connect this material to this guy here. Let's put it aside. This material to this guy. Now it doesn't look correct now, but if I try rendering it, you see, it's correct. You have the face and you have the body, and they're both on the same material. Now if I export this, pay no attention to his face now, but if I export this, I will see it as one texture set in Substance. So let's do that. Files, export. Let's export to here. And the export settings are just regular ones. And we have this multi-texture, ignore object connection to the following. That's fine. Okay, let's start Substance. And let's drag what we just created. So the body and the head, drag it in. And I want to use 4K textures. And you need to enable UV tile settings, UDIMs. Use UV tile workflow. This cannot be changed later, so you have to do this as you start the project. Use UV tiles, the first option, and hit OK. And now as you can see, you have one texture set, not two. So you have the material and you have 1001, 1002. Okay? So let's do this. Let's rename this to Clint, which is the guy, and delete this layer. Let's drag the Clint 01 base color inside. And once you drag the first one, 1001, it will automatically find both the textures, 101, 102, and connect them. Now he's very shiny, so let's go in Clint, down here to roughness, and set the roughness to 100. And now if I try to paint, because it's the same texture set, just 2 UDIMs, I can paint across his neck. So let's add a brush. And I will also show you how to use a clone tool if we were at it. So in order to use clone tool, I create a new add layers, this one, the brush. I set it to blending mode pass through. I select the clone tool and I hit V wherever I want to copy from. So let's say from this area. Hit V, hold V and click. And now if I paint, you see it paints on both textures. Hit V again, paint like this, and I just seamlessly connect the head and the body. You can even make it a little bit bigger. Let's take V from here and do this. And fix up a bit here. And I'm not going to go very deep into this model, but I'm just gonna do the basic here. So let's take this guy and here we'll just fix blending. Okay, let's say that's fine. Obviously you need to do more work for this, but as you can see, it works perfectly. Now, the last step is importing this into Unreal Engine and enabling UDIMs there. So that's the final destination for this guy. So let's do Files, Export Texture, and let's export in Tutorial UDIMs. Let's say Substance. Okay, in Substance I want to export in 4K, and I want to export for Unreal Engine Packed, and do Export. Okay, now I can close this up. Let's save this guy also in Substance. So UDIMs. Okay, so now we have in Substance all the textures. So if we can see them here by name, they're already numbered as they should. So 001, 002 for base color, 001, 002 for normals. So we just need to take the first one in Unreal and it will automatically take the second one. So let's go to Unreal. And in here, I want to add the guy. So let's import him. Let's do a new folder, Clint. Do import and import him, the one we exported. So tutorial UDIMs, body and head, and import. Okay, we don't have materials here, that's fine. Just place him in the scene. So now we want to import the UDIM material. In order to do this, we need to enable in project settings, virtual textures. So let's hit search in all settings, virtual texture. Okay, enable virtual texture support is already on. If it's on by default in 5.7, in the previous versions it might be off. So just make sure virtual textures, enable virtual texture support is on. And now if I want to import this texture, UDIM, I just take the first one, drag it in, and as you can see, we have both textures in the same one. Virtual texture is off in platform Android and iOS. That's fine. We're not using it for Android and iOS. But you can see there are two textures here, the body and the head. So now we can connect that as one texture. Let's create a new material for him. Clint. Go inside, drag this texture in, and connect it to base color. So this texture contains both the textures. And roughness, let's go 1, so it will be rough. And now let's place on this guy, in the materials, the new material we created. So Clint. For some reason, once I applied the material on the mesh, the material shows up as black. I don't know why that happened, probably some kind of error. But once you restart the Unreal or just wait a couple of minutes or save all the files that you imported, like the textures and everything, it should fix itself. So try saving everything, closing Unreal and opening again, and it will be fixed. Okay, now as you can see, we have one Clint with two textures and they blend together very well.